it's a betrayal of public trust. That is just not ethical.
I left the Democratic Party because of her.
The reason is because you're taking Republican money.
The money of those people that pay me as a consultant. What are you taking? What did you take in Crosstown? Took money. I saw it and I saw them pay you checks.
Okay, hold on, everybody. And we're back after a brief break. You're watching South Texas Crossfire with your host, Attorney Joe Flores, and I want to take this time to thank our sponsors, and that is Vasquez Flores Home Health. Nursing homes have their place, but for those seniors and the disabled who want to maintain their autonomy, call 881-9922 today. And also, if you're looking at entering into the healthcare and helping professions, call that same number. It's up on your screen. And also, we want to thank Lopez Broadcasting. Without them, a lot of voices in the Latino community could not be heard. But right now, we've got a great couple of guests, and something that some of you may know, I worked in the juvenile justice system and also with CPS cases, defending parents and also being an advocate for children. So I saw it from both sides. But one thing that is not talked about very much is adoption. So I'm going to bring on two great people that are going to be talking about adoption, the myths, the truths, etc. So everybody that's even remotely interested in adoption, please pay close attention. And welcome, guys. How are you?
Thank you for having us on.
I appreciate it. And I love the name, by the way, John Lennan, right?
It's John Lennon, yes.
But spelled a little bit differently,
It's
right?
Irish, not English.
Oh, okay. Oh, a big difference.
Just a little difference.
And who is this lovely lady you brought here with you?
This is Rose Banda. She's our adoption unit supervisor. She's the one who supervises all the workers that make those adoptions possible.
And that's good acting on my part, because we've met before many times. So I'm glad you're here. In fact, I went to an event that was just recently held at Antonio E. Garcia. Can you tell us a little bit about the event?
That was our ninth annual Heart Gallery of South Texas. And what that is that's a statewide project that all the regions in the state for CPS, put one of these on. But ours was for South Texas, and it featured South Texas children. And we had 30 children who are just a small reflection of the more than 340 children we have in South Texas that wants what every child wants, someone to call mom and dad. And these children agreed to be a part of the gallery because they want their message out there. They wanted their photograph out there. They wanted their biography out there. And if it's not that particular child, they wanted to represent all the other children that are in foster care.
Well, let me ask you, you work boots on the ground with these adoptions a lot. Can you tell the people out there your experiences? What are the myths, the main things? People have questions about adoption. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Many of the myths consist of families only wanting infants and babies, and that's not necessarily true. There are many families that do approach us that want to be able to get out of that baby changing stage. They want to be able to open their homes, their hearts to children who have a desire to further their future, who want that support system as they continue into their adulthood. And also they believe that it costs a tremendous amount of money, and that is very inaccurate. Within the state of Texas, if you get licensed, say through the department or even through one of the private agencies that we collaborate with, there's very minimal costs, and sometimes those costs can be reimbursed as well.
And the overseas adoption versus domestic, people, you hear stories of they had to travel around the world and get a baby from China or Russia. And again, the myth is you can only adopt, or people only want children under 3 years of age or something. And that's not true, is it?
No. Now, there are a lot of families that do initially seek out children under a certain particular age because they feel that they could be molded of how they would like them to be according to their current lifestyle and their family. And that's not true either. When we're within the womb, we already built, our characters already established. So whether we are taught certain things or it's something that has already been maybe genetic, it's just kind of, it's what makes us as a person. However, we are able to learn something that has not been taught to us, which is how to love. So it doesn't matter what age a child is or even a youth, you can be taught certain things.
You talked about at the that Mr. Lennan and I attended, you talked about a 17-year-old that was adopted that, I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. I mean, it was a very moving story. Could you tell our audience a little bit about that?
Yes, I did have the privilege of introducing Anthony. Anthony was featured in our Heart Gallery about 4 years ago for the first time, and he just always wanted to be part of a family. He thought that because of his age, he was never going to be able to have that, and nor have anyone that he can call his own. And lo and behold, for him, it was made possible. And many times I think, I'm not here to do this. I'm here to try to just help out. In his particular case, the family that met him were actually volunteers through the Rotary Club that met him at an adoption matching picnic that was being hosted by our local Rotary clubs.
And he wore a suit.
He sure did. He was like, I'm going to make an impression. I want to make sure that these people know who I am. He wanted to stand out, and he sure did. He sat down, they spoke with him, and they were inseparable throughout the entire event.
And Tara couldn't be here with us because of the flu and everything. Hope you get better. But I really care about her. She said that someday she wants to adopt. And, you know, so, and she told me, you think about it. I said, well, I'll have to ask Mama about that. But, you know, John, one of the things that I find is people are very scared about the adoption process. They're going to look into everything. You know, you as you've got, you know, a great deal of knowledge base and on that, both of you do. But can you tell the public a little bit about what the criteria are? I mean, do you have to be loaded? Do you have to, you know, what are the criteria? Let's inform the public.
We're going to dispel those myths. The biggest requirement is, do you have the capacity to love and care for somebody? That's going to be the biggest checkmark box that we need to put on that document. You know, are you willing to care for somebody? Are you willing to love them? Are you willing to provide them a home? If you can say yes to that, everything else is going to be easy. Are you 21 years of age? Are you willing to submit to a background study? Because we want to make sure that when a child is placed with you, that you are an appropriate person to be placed with. Are you willing to attend training? Because we want you to be prepared to help care for these children, and we want to provide that training for you. And those are the biggest requirements right there. And we're going to have an adoption information meeting in January.
Oh, good.
At the library in Annabelle, and Cornelia Garcia is our recruiter. And she's there to answer all of those questions. The other great thing is, if there's a community group out there, if there's a church congregation that is interested in having an adoption information meeting presented, we can send one of our representatives out there and we can put on a PowerPoint show and kind of explain the ins and outs. And then afterwards, we love to hear the questions, because those questions that the public ask us is kind of a litmus test. That's what's telling us these are the myths, the misconceptions, the misunderstandings that the public have. So those are our challenges to get that positive message out there, that we have all these wonderful kids. And like I said, when we go to those adoption match picnics, people may come in thinking, oh, I only want to adopt a baby. But when they come in and they meet our kids, they're like, oh my gosh, this kid's wonderful. I can't imagine my life without this child being part of our family. And, you know, those are our success stories.
Well, and how long does the process, you know, you've educated me so much, and I know you've even testified in court about it, where a child may be best suited to be placed, you know, along with the Child Protective Services. What's the timeline for people in the process? I mean, it varies. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
it does vary. You know, it does vary. We do our very best to ensure that it happens that a family can be licensed within 120 days. Now, there are times, though, that there are certain things or factors that are beyond our control, and just further checks that have to be taken in.
Such as what would
if they resided out of state at one point in time.
Oh, gotcha.
We have to contact those states and we have to go according to their time frame when they provide us the necessary information that we need. And really, that's one of the bigger things. Sometimes some families encounter some unforeseeable circumstances. You know, their work schedules don't permit for them to come together to attend some of the trainings together. And sometimes that seems to take it a little longer as well. But for the most part, within 120 days.
And you talked about the 17-year-old. What other stories, just recently, without, you know, giving away confidentiality there, that have really moved you and both of you and said, you know, is there one that y'all are thinking about?
Most recently, actually, on Thursday of last week, we had a 17-year-old who was adopted as well, and he was about to turn 18 on Sunday. So he decided that he was going to take that step of faith and say, I'm going to commit to this family, a family he had met previously. He hadn't been placed with them, but he met them because they provided respite for him when he was in a previous foster placement in that same area. Right before Thanksgiving, he said, I want to do this. So the worker actually worked throughout the entire Thanksgiving holiday break to ensure that everything was completed to make it happen for him. And now he's extremely happy. He thought he would never be able to make it happen. He thought he would never be able to be part of a family, to be able to call his own, and he got his family, and right before the Christmas holiday.
And he was able to celebrate his first family
Yes.
celebration. That Sunday, he was able to celebrate a birthday with his new family. Not only was it his birthday, but it was the birth of a new family, because he also, in that adoption, he also has 4 brothers now. You know, so he became part of a family. And it's something that we always stop and think about. We never outgrow the need for parents. I know I call my parents on Sunday. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. How's it going? What's this? What's going on? Hey, Dad, can you give me some advice on this? You know, as children, we never outgrow that need for parents. We never outgrow that desire to spend the holidays with family. And that's why November being our Why Not Me campaign, it's our big push statewide to get that message out there that, you know, we want to make sure that children are home for the holidays. And this young gentleman that was just adopted, he's going to be spending his first Christmas with his family.
Well, we've got the lower third that Diamond Dave's putting up there, and the information that you can have. But I love the website, adoptchildren.org.
Correct.
And what will we find when they go on that site? If you're there at home right now, flip to it on your phone. It's neat now. We can do it on the phone.
It's great the way the state has this set up. They have a search engine built in there, because we understand certain families gravitate maybe towards a sibling group or an individual child or a male or a female, and that's great that there's people out there that have that desire. And so there's a search engine that's built in there where you can check a criteria box, and some of the photographs of our children and some of their biographies are on there, and that'll help you to help narrow down, you know, oh my gosh, here's a child that's wonderful and I would love to adopt this child. And that's how the adoption that we were just talking about came through. Was the respite provider was looking at the website, saw a child that she used to care for, and didn't realize he was still legally free for adoption. And that's what helped get the ball rolling.
Well, and your outreach programs, you guys wouldn't be on here had I not gone to Antonio y Garcia, and Tara told me to put you guys on right away. And so when Tara wants something, she gets it.
Yes.
So, but she's very passionate about, and people give, and this is a good opportunity to educate people on CPS and also on the adoption issues, because people only see one side of it. Oh, they're taking away my kids, they're doing this, they're doing that. But at the end of the day, it's much more. The adoption process, this is a side people don't see, is that you had a worker work through a holiday and bring about a miracle to happen where that
That's
person,
a great way to sum it up. It was a miracle.
So there are a lot of dedicated people that work there. It's not the, you know.
It's not the front end. A lot of folks, when they watch the evening news or read the newspaper, they hear about the investigation side.
Yes.
They hear about our collaboration with law enforcement, and they'll hear about our cases that way. And yes, that is the beginning of a story, but the forever ending, the happy ending to the story, the last chapter, you know, for that whole entire case does come about with the adoption workers. And our adoption staff, they are great. They go to great lengths to make sure that, you know, an adoption will go through. And like Rose said, we had a worker who worked over their Thanksgiving holiday, you know, missing time with their family to make sure that somebody would have a family going forward.
That's
because
beautiful.
they know how important that family time is.
Oh, Rose, can you tell us, we got a couple of minutes left, but what would you like to convey to the people out there? Because a lot of people watch this show, and they'll channel flip. I'm not hurt. They'll go ABC, NBC, we're at 6, but they'll stop and they'll listen. What would you like to tell the people out there that are watching? Because we're going to play this throughout the holidays, January, February, March. Heck, we'll play it whenever I want. So what would you like to tell them?
To take the time to actually listen to what the message really is. If it's something that it's not, they feel maybe not for them, share it. Because even speaking about it with someone else will open up a door for any other families to become a family with the children that we are currently helping and serving.
Well, how many children don't have somebody that, let's put it in sheer numbers in South Texas alone? Can you give me a ballpark? How many children?
About 350 children.
So there's 350 children without a family that are going in foster care right now, but they don't have a permanent family. So 350 children, and it runs from the age from birth
0 to 17.
Yes.
And to take that number one step further, we have about 6,500 Texas children that are looking for a home as well. So, if someone's thinking about adoption, we're letting you know about our 350 South Texas children, but we have over 6,500 Texas children. So we know that there is somebody out there for everybody, and through public information shows like this, we hopefully are going to make those connections and match those children up with their forever families.
Well, any last comments, Rose?
Thank you so much for this opportunity to help spread the awareness, because I know someone out there that's watching, their heart's going to be touched and they're going to be contacting us.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys coming on. And again, it's the website. Don't forget, write it down, adoptchildren.org. And we will be playing this throughout the months to come. And what's the magic number to call if they have more information too? Where they want more information?
They can call our switchboard, 361-854-2011, and they can ask to speak to an adoption worker or adoption recruiter.
854-2011. Write that down. We're going to have it on the lower third there. And thanks for the email. That helps. And is there a Facebook Facebook page?
Our agency does have a Facebook page, and I can send you the link to that.
Okay, and then everybody click like. That way we'll have that on there and visit it. So we're going to take a break, but thank you guys for coming. Appreciate it, Rose.
Our children.
And that was Rosa John there, and we've got the number and the adoptchildren.org. And we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with some interesting judicial candidates.